So guys, first of all, thank you for joining us. And we are trying to do the migration blitz because as the situation is changing every month at the moment, so we are trying to keep you as updated as possible. And the goal is basically we can impart as much knowledge as possible so that you can make the right decision to attain the PR or whatever your goal is. Okay, so the first thing is I just want to introduce a team who will be talking with you. The first thing is my name is Usman Obaid. I'm a registered migration agent at APG Sydney, and I have with me Miss Rowency. She is our counselor for the Filipino market, and she is a senior counselor as well. And we have Mr. Jayant. He's a team lead for education purposes, admissions. So he's a guy to talk to for course changes and admissions and everything. And then we have Mr. Harish Bushetty. So he's an IT specialist, and he helps us be providing an insight into how the IT market works and how the IT professional area works. So that's why thank you for joining all of us, all the speakers and the attendees. So now let's start with the main thing. So the main let's move to the next slide, please. So this is just a disclaimer that whatever we give telling you right now is mainly for this webinar purposes only. But if you have any particular questions or you have particular cases, do not make your own assumptions. If you have something that if it answers something, we're happy with that. But if you think that you need a particular solution, talk to one of us, one of our team members, and we'll be able to guide you towards the best possible pathway in the most safest way possible, right? Because you don't need to take any unnecessary risk. So do talk to us, and then we'll give you a case-to-case basically plan. Let's move to the next slide, please. Yeah. So first of all, we'll be talking about. So this webinar is mainly we are going to do a very different webinar today, basically. So the first thing is for 2 days. The first day it will be mainly information and question and answer. And the second day, if there are people who still feel like their questions have not been answered, or they have their family, friend, or the other colleagues who have more answers, they're happy to, you're most welcome to join us tomorrow as well. And we will be going with mainly questions and answers tomorrow. Okay, so today we'll try to answer as many as possible, and we have a wide panel. So we have obviously we cannot cover every language, every nationality, but we have tried to cover all the as many as we could. So we have a Tagalog speaker, Filipino speaker, basically. We have a Punjabi speaker, Hindi speaker, Urdu speaker, and a Telugu speaker. So you all speak English as well. So if you feel comfortable in talking your own language, in particular language, you're free to do that today. So we'll be doing it in a very different way. So we'll keep our explanations and presentations in English, but for the rest of the part, we can go if you comfortable with your own language, you'll go with that. Okay. So first of all, let's move to the next slide, please. So now the first thing, the main idea is the people who are joining us today, most of you are the ones who have either started studying in Australia or just completed their studies and going on the 485 visa. And the third category, in which people are during their 485, and there's a lot of confusion as to what to do, whether they can get the PR on their own or they have to change their occupation to something which is more likely to get the invitation for the PR sooner than later, right? So that's another side. And then we have some people who are joining us who have their 485 completing in August, October, September. So they will, their query is very different. They want to know about what to do now. So if the 485 is completing, you also have to find a very simple solution so that after the 485 complete, you make sure you get the PR, you get on the right track, because a lot of people, they're confused. A lot of information in the market is very confusing. So people do different courses, but sometimes they're not very good for the PR, right? So so something which might sound good might not actually be good for you. So we have to make sure, for based on your personality, your profile, your case, we give you the best course. Now, what I've done is, first of all, I want to clear some fast track courses. Okay, now these courses are the ones which are very popular. A lot of people are doing it, and a lot of people have questions as well that what to do in all of these. Now, these are the simplified summary version of what can be done in a short span of time to make your PR dream a reality. And a lot of things, if you notice, are for 1 year. So 1 year study can help you with the PR, but again, it depends on the case to case, right? So the first thing, It's called Graduate Diploma of Early Childhood Teaching. Okay. Now, this is very different from a lot of people who are selling courses like Certificate 3 in let's say, early childhood, Diploma of Early Childhood. Those are different courses. Okay. Those are not going to have the same outcome as this one, because they will make you a childcare worker for which there's hardly any option available for PR. And this will make you a teacher, not early childhood teacher. That's a keyword. Now, this is again one of the best occupations out there. Okay. Now, it's open nearly in every state. In every state, the points are very low, bare minimum. We are talking about 65 points. You can get the invitation in this for the 189, 190, 499, whatever you choose to do it. But obviously, in this kind of occasion, no one takes the 499 because you get the 189 visa, the 190 visa easily. So that's the main focus of this pathway. The second is commercial cookery. Now, again, available in most of the cities. Is the course is itself for 1 year. In 1 year, you can do Certificate 4 in commercial cookery, and you can become a chef. The only thing is, because it's a trade course, you have to do 1 year of experience as well, which is called job ready program. So basically, it is not just going to be 1 year only, it's actually going to be 2 years, but one of the years has to be studies. The second year can be just experience of 1 year, which is which has a fancy name called job ready program, right? So this is how we do it. The third thing, which is again very, very solid right now, there's a huge demand and very big undersupply right now, which is called Diploma of Community Services. Now, this for 2 years, and if you become a community worker, your PR can come at as low as 60 points. So it's again one of the best courses out there, even when the conditions were tough last year, when NSW, Victoria, all states were being very careful in inviting people. This occupation was still getting the invitation. So number 3 is very solid, and again, is a solution for a lot of people who don't want to invest a whole lot of money. They don't want to overextend in themselves into a master course. Then this is the right way to do it. The fourth thing is automotive. The automotive, again, studies are available across the state, and PR is also available across the state. But since it's also fast track, you still have to do 1 year work experience. So that means trade courses like commercial cookery, automotive, tiling, and painting, and number 7 and 8. These are the kind of occupation you do if you have 2 years of 485 left in your hands, or you're just about to step into the 485, then you will easily do it. Okay. Or let's say you have interest in it, passion in it, then obviously you can make it happen. Or if you don't have the experience, you can have 3 years of experience only, and then even then we can help you with the assessment, right? Contact us for that. But if you just talk about the studies, any course in which you just need the right studies, and based on that you can get the PR, those are number 1, graduate diploma early childhood, number 2, diploma of community service, number 3, diploma of nursing. These are the courses in which you can there's one more course, diploma of telecommunication, civil construction design. Those things are also available, in which you just study, and based on the studies you get the PR. So that's also, and these are all high demand occupations. So we have selected based on some filters. Number 1, we don't want you to study something which is too hard, something which is very risky. That means that can be removed at any point. And number 3, we don't want something which is too expensive. If you're spending $60,000 just to get a PR, it's not worthwhile, right? We can have all these kind of options at a much 1/3 the cost, even less than that sometimes. So those things, and we also have scholarships available exclusive to APG. So if you contact us, we can give you the best grade possible, right? So let's move to the next slide, please. So again, these are the, if you want to be very safe, these are the general courses that are available across Australia. So these are the kind of courses that you can't really go wrong with, but they all have their little nuances that you have to work on to get the assessment and everything. So I think Mr. Jayant, our team lead and a senior education counselor, he'll be explaining these in detail now. Jayant, can you please take over?
Thank you, Usman. Hello, everyone. My name is Jayant. I'm one of the team leader at Asia Pacific Group, Sydney. I will be taking over the presentation from now, and I will be talking about different courses which are available in Australia. Just wanted to let you know, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to write it in the chat box. We will be addressing those questions at the end of this presentation, and we will also be open to take questions via voice, or if you want to turn on your video, we are more than happy to assist you in your own language. So we have Tagalog, Hindi, Urdu, Punjabi, and Telugu. So 5 languages we can easily cater. Of course, English is there. So feel free to write down your questions. So in Australia, overall, we have a lot of courses which are very popular, but nowadays, social work, community services, teaching, IT, civil construction design, and the trade courses. These are really popular. Okay, I will be talking about few courses which I have mentioned already. I will be talking about few courses in detail, and few courses I will be talking, about how and what things are required in order, if you want to, let's say, have an outcome into that, what all things will be required. So social worker, of course, is an accredited program by AASW. Not all universities and providers are accredited, but in case you are planning to study social worker, master's or a graduate diploma or a qualifying program, do make sure that you go and look at AASW website and look at the registered courses. If you are doing a non-registered course, you will not be able to get your skill assessment from AASW. Right. Entry requirements into social work is you must have a background because it's a qualifying program. You must have a background either in education, psychology, law, political science, history, economics, marketing, accounting, sociology, management, or geography. So if you have a background in these, then you can go directly into Masters of Social Work, which is a 2 years program. If you do not have a background in this, then most of the universities, they have a bridging program. It's called a pathway program, which you can study. It's either for 6 months or 1 year. If you have done 8 units, you will go directly. If you have done 4 units, you will go for 6 months. If you have done none, let's say somebody with accounting background, IT background, and they want to do this, and they have not done any units, which are the core component requirement to go into this course, they will be required to do 1 year of graduate diploma or the bridging program, leading to 2 years of Masters of Social Work. In terms of requirement for entry, you need English 7 each, no band less than 7. PTE is accepted. IELTS is accepted. All sort of English tests are accepted for admission. Once you graduate, AASW only accepts IELTS academic, which is 7 each. So there is no PTE or other mode of English is accepted by them. So keep in mind, IELTS academic 7 each is required when you apply for your skills assessment after the completion of this course. Right. Some providers in different states who are accredited by AASW, and they offer this course from bachelor's all the way to master's. Bachelor's normally is 4 years in this, and master's is 2 years. With the bridging program, it can be either 2.5 years of master's or 3 years of master's. Depending which state you guys are joining us from, these are the snapshot of the universities which offer Masters of Social Work or Bachelors of Social Work. Next one is community services. Now, this is very famous and popular nowadays because I think the requirements in a lot of states have reduced very recently. And a lot of people, they want to go and do community services. Like AASW, social workers, right? We need to go and look at the ACWA. I think there is a mistake here. It's not social workers, it's community workers. So ACWA, you need to go and look at the requirements or the providers who are actually registered with ACWA. If you're doing it from a non-accredited program, then there is a different requirement for the skill assessment. I will talk about it after this slide. So ACWA is the assessing authority for this, right? The requirements for diploma is 6 no less than 5.5, pretty standard, and bachelor's again 6 overall. And then band less than 6 is also required in most of the universities and providers to go into bachelor's. Now, if you talk about the skill assessment, now there are 2 pathways in this. I've got Usman as well. He's a registered migration agent. So in case you guys have any questions, feel free. We do have a migration agent in-house. So he's going to assess or answer all your questions as well later on. So there are 2 pathways if you want to get skill assessment from ACWA. One is accredited pathway, one is non-accredited pathway. The ones which are accredited on their website, if you study that course for 2 years, you do not need work experience, just need 7 each and your degree, and you can go directly for your skill assessment as a community worker. Whereas some people, they are doing the courses, let's say in South Australia, where there is no provider which is accredited, and they do this program for 2 years. That is a non-accredited program. Upon completion, they will need 1 year of full-time experience post completion plus 7 each. Then they can go for their skill assessment. So altogether, it will be 3 years, 2 years of qualification plus 1 year of full-time experience plus 7 each for the skill assessment. Mostly bachelor's and the diplomas are available in different states, depending which state you are in. And this is a snapshot. In NSW, we work with all the providers. And then this is also a snapshot. If you want to apply, feel free to get in touch with us. Next one is teaching. Teaching is getting popular every day. Every day, we meet people, we speak to people, they want to do teaching, either bachelor's of teaching or master's of teaching. Now, the requirements for this course, to go into this course, are quite concrete, because AITSL is the assessing authority, and they would want all the applicants to have overall 7.5, with listening and speaking as 8, reading and writing as 7 each. So this will be a requirement to go into either a bachelor's or a master's program, and this can be in primary, secondary, or early childhood. Once you graduate, then also you need to go and get the English score for your skills assessment. Now, particularly speaking about the skill assessment, AITSL would want you to have 7788 in IELTS only. They do not accept anything else. IELTS for your skills assessment. If you have 4 years of higher education in Australia, then you do not need English score for your skills assessment. So let's say if somebody has got a bachelor's in accounting for 3 years, and then they did masters of teaching for 2 years in secondary. So altogether, they have 5 years of higher education in Australia. When they apply for their skill assessment with AITSL, they do not need this English score for their skills assessment. Right, I've given a snapshot of how much is the range for this course, depending, which state you are in. I don't want to go in detail and discuss that, but you can, possibly have that, range. Okay, if you want to study this course, this is how much you will be, looking at spending. Bachelor's, keep in mind, is 4 years. Master's is 2 years. There is no concrete background requirement, so you can just go directly, regardless of any background. Right, as I was saying previously, that AITSL is the one, and you need the English requirement. 4 years of higher education in Australia, you do not need English requirement to meet the English requirement for your skill assessment. Next is IT, quite famous from a lot of years. People still are doing it, cybersecurity, and we have just come up from COVID-19 situation where IT played a major role. So we have IT courses available in different states. Bachelor's, master's, diploma is also there. I did not cover diploma today because my main focus was on higher education today. Depending which state you are in, there is a range of providers with different fees. So you can just, if you want, you can take a screenshot, or you can always get in touch with us to discuss further. We do offer scholarships as well. With Asia Pacific, we do have exclusive scholarship arrangements with a lot of providers. So you can get in touch with us, with our respective office and our counselors, and we can discuss in detail how much we can get you, the scholarship we can get you. IT, the skill assessment is going to ACS, Australian Computer Society. Now, there are 2 ways to get your skill assessment. One is, of course, the provisional assessment. One is full assessment. A lot of people, once they finish their bachelor's or master's, they will apply for their TR, right? Because it is in the medium to long-term skill list. So they can apply for this. And then most of the clients, they do not have work experience. So they can go and do professional year. Upon the completion of studies, they go into a professional year program. And then once that program is finished, they can have the score in English and apply for their skill assessment. That's one way. The other way is, let's say somebody doesn't want to include themselves into a professional year. They can have 1 year of work experience post completion. First area, you need to do professional year. This one, if you do not want to do professional year, you can do 1 year of work experience and then go to ACS for your skill assessment. When we say work experience, minimum requirement is 20 hours per week, or the completion of ACS professional year program. So whichever it is, if you want to discuss in detail and you're still confused, feel free to get in touch with us. This is something new, civil engineering draft person. I'm not too sure, a lot of people, they're not aware, but this is a very hot course, which has been there in the market from very long. Me and Usman, we had this discussion a lot of times as well, that civil engineering draft person is one of those key courses. If somebody is doing, they are actually, having a gold mine next to them. Pretty straightforward course, around 18 to 23,000 is their 2-year fees. It's mostly available in all the states. Skill assessment goes to Engineers Australia. Now, this course is mostly about draft person. It's about a software called AutoCAD, where you do the designing. It's a 2 years program, skill assessment with Engineers Australia. There is no work experience required for your skill assessment. So what you really need is 2 years of your qualification plus CDR. CDR is competency demonstration report. Once you have those 2 things, again, basic English requirements are always there, and you can apply for full skill assessment. Right. So depending which state you are in, get in touch with us. We can give you the updated prices. Last one for me today is trade. A lot of people, they want to go into trade because there is a huge demand. Automotive, cookery, carpentry, chef, wall and floor tiler, all these occupations are highly in demand, including carpenter. So if you want to do this, any trade occupation, average between 15 to $30,000, you're looking at overall in any trade course for 2 years, right? Depending which state you are in, it may differ. But a lot of clients who are doing a job ready program and they lodge their TR in future temporary residency, they are required to do a job ready program. Now, what job ready program is, it is 1725 hours, which they are required to finish in 1 year. The skill assessment authority is TRA, and there is a complete process of job ready, which we need to follow. Let's say Usman, a migration agent, if you speak to him, he's the one who can register you for the job ready program. And there are different requirements which we need to fulfill at different times to get a skill assessment outcome from TRA into the trade occupations. Right. So my area is already covered. Now I have Ms. Rowency Garcia. She's our Filipino counselor who will be taking over from me and will be discussing about nursing. Over to you, Rowency.
Thank you, Jay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rowency Garcia. I'm the Senior Student Counselor of Asia Pacific Group. So today I'll be discussing about nursing courses. Nursing courses, we all know that this is really a straightforward course and it's really in-demand professions after, most especially when we heated by COVID-19 pandemic. So basically there's the Diploma of Nursing and Bachelor of Nursing and Masters of Nursing. So it's pretty straightforward. If you're taking Diploma of Nursing, it will give you a registration as an enrolled nurse, which is included in ST Sol, which you can apply for like 491 and it's 491 and 190. And for Bachelor of Nursing, it's under medium list. So you can enroll for basically all kinds of PR like 491, 190, and 189. For Master of Nursing, it's usually 1.5 to 2-year course. It will also give you a registration as a registered nurse. So basically the same thing. You can apply for direct PR. Next, please. So we included here list of courses or colleges that are offering this Diploma of Nursing nationwide. So basically we included here the generic amount, which is we haven't received all the update yet from the colleges. Next, please. For New South Wales, Western Australia, Queensland, ACT, NT, and Tasmania. So we also included this information here. So basically, these are generic. You can contact us for further update with the course fees. So entry requirements for Diploma of Nursing. So at least basically you finish year 12 or equivalent qualification with straightforward, all 7 in each module. Acceptable English tests are actually IELTS, PTE, OET, TOEFL, or IBT, which is equivalent to all 7 as well. Age at least 18 years old. For Bachelor of Nursing, we have listed all those universities we're working with. So if you feel free to contact us if you prefer those locations. So for nursing pathway, there's Bachelor of Nursing, that's straightforward, 3 years. Bachelor of Nursing enrolled nurse. This is actually Division 2, which will take 2 years. For graduate entry, at least you finish you have like Bachelor of Nursing background overseas, so it will give you 2 years straight. For conversion program, at least you have a license overseas, so you can study for 1 year. For Master of Nursing, some of the universities are offering 1.5 years or 1.5 years to 2 years. So basically, at least you have a Bachelor of Nursing overseas to get enrolled for Masters. Straightforward, all 7. So basically, if in case you experience like you have lower module for speaking, for our example, you get 6.5, you can take another English class or English test and you get another, you can combine two. But basically, it should be like same both IELTS or both PTE. For registration, should be overseas licensed nurse. In the Philippines, it should be PRC license. With the experience, at least 1 year experience, then we can help you to get enrolled for these courses. Next, please. So for masters, as we discussed, we are offering here, these are the universities we're working with for masters, from Victoria all the way to Tasmania. Skill assessment, basically, it's direct. It's for enrolled nurse. You will be assessed by ANMA, and at least you have NAPRA registration. So yeah, so for nurses, it's really straightforward. You need to complete it, registration, and at least experience 1 year. There are direct PR as well, direct from Bachelor of Nursing and Masters of Nursing, and also with enrolled nurse. So basically, if you're taking graduate diploma entry, you have to have at least bachelor degree of nursing or related professional background. That's it. So basically, the 4485, it will be discussed by professional year at our expert, Harish Bushetty, our IT specialist and student counselor.
Hello. Hi, everyone. This is Harish from Asia Pacific Group. I'm IT specialist at Asia Pacific Group. I can explain you about how it goes with the professional year course, as well as the work experience, and moving further, how you apply for the skill assessment. Okay. So first of all, the basic entry requirement is the temporary resident visa, and that's a 485 visa. So we provide these all type of visa services. One of them is the 485 visa, which has two different streams: graduate work stream and post-study work stream. So these are the usual requirements what you need to have before applying for the 485 visa. So basic and must the documents required is the overseas visitor health cover, Australian police check, and English. Obviously, the course completion documents and the transcripts of your previous study. Next slide, please. So about the professional year course, basically it's a 1 year program, which is usually called as the only 44-week program with 2 stages in it. So for the 32 weeks, which has 8 subjects and 4 weeks long each subject, that will be covered in 32 weeks of the face-to-face classes. There is no online classes in the professional year, so they have removed, ACS has removed the online classes from April 2022. And the second stage is internship. So internship will be provided by the college or the institute, and they also has another requirement says that it should be 12 weeks long, and it should complete 220 hours in that 12 weeks. So next slide, please. So what are the advantages of doing the PY, either IT, accounting, or engineering? So usually the professional year course develop your communication skills, practice your experience, knowledge in the industry and Australian workplace culture, where you can implement in the workplace, and you get to know a lot of things in the professional year. So it add values to your CV and get more. Most important thing is you get 5 points towards your PR. And one of the things, another one is the hassle-free, skills assessment, basically. And it also provides you the exposure towards the Australian working culture, and you will be having a good network with your peers and industry professionals as well who does the PY. And in the professional year course, like people usually, few of my friends ask me why you have done your professional year course, and why we need to take this professional year course, because I have a job. I do have a job and I've been working from a long time, but professional year course will give the eligibility to apply with different skills assessments. So basically, if you are a software developer, then you will be applying for only one skill assessment under your closely related or the work experience, I would say. So professional year skill assessment will be applying for only one assessment. But if you go with the professional year course and your previous study background is in the computers, either the masters or bachelor's, then you will be applying for different skill assessment. That's maybe the computer network engineer, computer network and systems engineer, systems analyst, business analyst. So depending on the subjects and the eligibility you have in the previous study. So that's give you the more precise options, not to choose only one option where you worked for. So next slide, please. So at Asia Pacific Group, we guarantee you the best PY prices. So in all over Australia, this is the I would say the best prices in the Asia Pacific Group. So for IT, we provide 6,700 is the starting price, and for accounting $4,400, and for engineering PY that starts from $14,700. So we provide the complementary services as well. So we have the team of more than 15 migration agents or registered migration agents with APG, and we provide the free TR, and we don't charge any we have the deal right now with great promotions are going on in the APG. So we provide the insurance as well, discounted overseas visitor health cover. With that, if somebody are facing to get the PTE, either to lodge the 485 visa or to get the enrollment in the PTE, because PTE requires the eligibility to apply for the professional year, we require at least 50 each in PTE. So we provide the 2 weeks of free classes as well. And most interesting and most beneficial for all the students who are struggling with PR, we provide one of the free consultation with our registered migration agent upon finishing your PY, so that he can explain more about the PR pathways at the point of time, how to apply for the skill assessment, what all the components you need to complete to get your professional year, to get your PR. Next slide, please. It's about the skill assessment now. So once you guys finish the professional year course, you need to get the assessment. That's the most important document to apply for the EOI, basically PR. So for the IT graduates, it's Australian Computer Society. For engineering graduates, it's Engineers Australia. And for accounting graduates, it's the three of the skill assessment authorities are there: CPA, CAA, NZ, and IPA. So you can contact us for any kind of queries or to register with the professional year course or any kind of service. Basically starts from education, migration, professional year course until you get your citizenship applications as well. Next slide, please. So right now we are running a good deal with all the APG existing clients and new clients. So let's suppose if you have any friend who is interested to start the PY or any kind of course, either maybe bachelor's, master's, then we will provide up to $150 as a referral. And for the professional year course, we offer the best price in the market. So you cannot get, we guarantee the prices. So we provide you the best price and $100 referral bonus. So you can earn $100 bonus or gift card. So we are running pretty good promotion in the market. So refer a friend and just get $100, no hassle. We will take care of them and you take care of the discounts. And next slide, please. So thank you very much, guys, for your patience, and thank you very much for attending this webinar. If you have any doubts regarding your migration, education, PY, any pathways, just message us when we will answer the questions. Please use the chat box and we will answer the questions.
Thanks, Harish. Guys, we just wanted to make sure that I do tell you this, that we have one of the best deals for professional year programs. And feel free to get in touch with us because you cannot, just you can see the prices. So this is one of the most exclusive price you will see in the market. So in case you want to come and see Harish, or want to get in touch with us, we have all our numbers and the branches which we have for Asia Pacific listed over here. Feel free to give us a call. We will be taking up the questions now. I have few questions in the chat box. Now we will try to answer as many questions as we can. Okay, in case for some reasons we are not able to answer your question, feel free to get in touch with us tomorrow. We do have a webinar. This is day 1, and tomorrow we will have day 2. So we will just, be very crisp on the information. Today is like more detailed information about the courses and stuff, but tomorrow we will just, take you very briefly over the courses once again, and we'll go straight into the question and answer session. So in case you're not answered today, come tomorrow. For some reasons, if tomorrow is also not possible for us, you can always email sydney@asiapacificgroup.com. You can always email me, or you can call us. Just Google Asia Pacific Group and it'll show you your nearest branch. Call us. We can have that discussion over the phone, face, Zoom, whichever is easy. All right, Usman, are we ready for the questions?
Yeah, I think let's go one by one. I think because some interesting questions we have. So, all right, guys. So I'll just go one by one. I think from the top. I think Umal Khair was the first one to ask a question. So we'll go with that first. So Umal asked if Master of Business Analytics leads to PR. So yes, it does lead to PR. It's actually a very good occupation. You get occupation of such as business ICT business analyst, systems analyst based on this occupation. So it's actually a very good occupation. The challenge is getting the professional year done and getting the points up. That's the main challenge here, because a lot of people are doing this course. See, this is one of those courses which is high demand, high supply. So there are a lot of people coming to the graduating every few months, but then there's a lot of good jobs available as well. So a lot of people are getting the PR, and there's still need for more people, right? So this is going to stay for a while. So it's a very good occupation. If you're doing this.
Yes, sir, I'm doing this. Like I'm actually a student in Western Sydney University, and I receive 50% scholarship from there because I have done 3 years of professorship. Like before coming here, I was a professor at university.
Okay, interesting. So you are a professor. That means did you do like a PhD or something back home, or after that?
MPhil.
MPhil. Okay, interesting. Okay.
In finance and accounting, and actually I was double gold medalist.
All right. Okay, just your name is Umal, right? Just confirming.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Umal, so basically, I just on the side note that since you talked about your background, you also have one more possibility, which is called university lecturer. Okay, because if you work as a professor, university lecturer is also a possibility. The only thing is they ideally prefer PhD, but MPhil they do consider if you have sufficient experience. So if you can get to, obviously we'll calculate your point, we'll help you out with it, but do give us an email. But if you can simple.
There is only one issue. Yes, sir. So there is only one issue, that I didn't do any research work. Like my research is not published.
Okay, yeah, that can play a part.
But it's not published.
We can see, I'll tell you what, there are cases in which MPhil has led towards getting the university lecture occupation. Okay, so we can see, we obviously depend on case to case, right? There's a lot of angles to it, but we have clients who have gotten it with an MPhil as well, but it's always more tricky. That's the only difference. So with PhD, we know 100% you will have the research component of it. So that makes a difference. And even as a lecturer, you'll be working in some way or another towards the research side. So the reason I'm saying this, because the payoff is very high. Like the risk is what assessment, if you will, that's a maximum risk. There's nothing other than that. But the payoff, for which you have 80% chance of succeeding if you just play your cards right, you can get the invite at 65 points, while offshore or onshore doesn't really matter. So that's one thing. So that's one thing. But again, coming back to your actual studies, as a business analyst, PR is pretty solid. So the chances are very good, but you still have to reach at least 85 points. Will you be reaching 85 points or above when you graduate?
So how can I get 85 points?
I'll actually, you know what, we'll calculate right now, just to make sure we do it. Because obviously this is also a template for other people as well, because I know this webinar is very different. We are trying to be more intimate with our clients. We are trying to be more open to our clients so that we try to make the best use of time, right? So age, how old are you right now?
So sorry, what you said?
How old are you right now?
Actually, I'm 33 years old.
So you get 25 points for age. You've done at least a bachelor's or a master's, you'll get 15 points.
Yes,
You would
sir.
have completed Australian study in the next 1 year, I'm assuming 1.5 year.
Yes, sir, 1.5 years it will take.
Sure. And in terms of English, how high can you score?
Actually, last time I scored 6.5 each. In
6.5. Okay. So a superior score is not possible for you, is it? So 7 each is something you can get. So we can get 10 points for you. In terms of obviously your background, finding a job will be a little tough for you because you're from a teaching background. So they generally prefer people from the IT, hardcore IT background generally. So that is always going to be a little tricky for you. But especially in the 1.5 year time, we have to see what the market like. Right now, people who are graduating, they are getting jobs very easily. But 1.5 years later, we don't know, right? So we have to keep in mind for that. So I'm not including experience. I'm just assuming that you will do your professional year to get the assessment. So you'll get 5 points for the professional year. Okay, the one you talked about. In terms of, can you do Nati? Is your mother tongue in Nati? Havel? I think the Umal, can you hear me?
Okay, sir.
I think
No, sir. Actually, my mother tongue is Persian. And
Persian.
I can
Okay,
speak
Persian.
6 languages.
Okay, wow, impressive. So
Yes,
Persian
sir.
is there. So Farsi is there actually. So if you
Sir, actually, my mother tongue is Persian, and I can speak 6 languages.
got it. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can hear you now. I think the internet dropped out for a second. So I got it. So you can do Farsi, Nati, and get 5 points. All right. Umal, I think your line is dropping out. Guys, can you hear me?
Actually, it was network issue. So you were saying that.
So anyways, Umal, so Umal, I'll keep it simple. I'll just looking at your point, you'll be at 40, 50, 65. You'll be at 70 points, around 70, 75 points. So it's for you getting PR as a business analyst is going to be tough. It is going to be tough because it's going to take a lot more points. You'll be coming at 70 points.
Okay, sir.
Understand?
So where I can increase my points.
So that's the thing. So for points, to get more points, because you need at least 85 points, you'll have to get superior score in English, meaning 79 each in PT, each of the component, and you might need to get a job as well in the right field, right? After qualification. So that's the thing. So that's why it is going to be a little tricky for you. So that's why I would say, in your case, I would say either you try to get a better English score, start now studying for it. So because if you get the right score, you're pretty much done. If you get a superior score in English, you'll be at 80 to 85 points, then you're in a very comfortable spot. But if you don't get superior score in English, then it will be a big struggle for you. So then you'll have to open up in the alternate occupation such as university lecturer or something to get the PR. All right, so that's how it's going to be. So because or alternatively, you can change your course into something which is more PR related, and that can make your life much easier. Like for example, if you do social work over there, but obviously it will take a lot of time.
Like right now I'm trying to take admission in teaching, so I'm doing PT exams for that because I have some of the previous experience like in
Exactly. So but teaching is again one of the best occupations out there. So teaching is very solid. We can help you with that. You can, I would say, Umal, if you could just leave us a email as well. I'll ask one of my senior consultants, I think Mr. Jayant. Mr. Jay, he's the best waving. So he's the best person for guiding you regarding the which course particularly to take, because even with teaching, it's not like any course will work. We have to choose a accredited course, and you have to choose a course which is going to be like, we'll also check is it early childhood, primary, secondary school. You know, so there's a lot of angles here.
I've done B.Ed and M.Ed in that already.
Sorry?
So I have done B.Ed and M.Ed also.
I
As
know,
an
but that, unfortunately, that doesn't help you because overseas education that doesn't really help in a normal in Australia for teaching particularly. Okay, so yeah. So anyway, Ubal, just leave us a message. We'll try to answer the best, find the best course for you, or if we can tell you to get the points up, we'll tell you both the thing in detail in the email or in person. Right. So we'll do that. I'll move to the next person. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Thank
you
you,
can
sir.
send me an email
No
at sydney@asiapacificgroup.com. Okay, and I can get in touch with you. We can have a discussion over call.
Sure, sir. So can you write your email in the chat box so I can copy from there?
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Umal. I'll just move to the next person. It's Mr. Ruben Mutai. So Ruben, I think you said I study Bachelor of IT and got my 4.5 now. I would like my wife to study Diploma of Community Service. Will this help us to get PR? Yeah, like obviously that's a very good occupation. So you like that very little can go wrong with that plan. Also, I'm working in disability care sector for 6 years now. If I do Diploma of Community Service as well, will this help us? Okay. So Ruben, I think the best person, one of you, not both of you, one of you can just do Diploma of Community Service, and that's going to solve all your problems. Like your wife or you, one of you, whoever. Basically, think of it like this: whoever is more likely to get 7 each in IELTS or 65 in PT, like good proficient English score, one of you can get it, because the points is not a problem in this occupation. If you are even at 60 points of your own, the state will give you 5 points to get to 65, and that's all you need to get the invitation. And this is the good times. Remember that in the last 3 months, the times are very good. Invites are coming in big numbers. But even when the times are tough, 1 year back, 2 years back, 3 years back, this occupation, community worker, was still getting the invite at 60, 70 points, right? Very low points. Now, just one thing you have to be careful about, Ruben. I hope, Mr. Ruben, you're here. I hope if you're here, please unmute if you want to. Yes. So Ruben,
I'm sorry. Can I just add one thing? Guys, we will be taking up your questions. I know a lot of people, they are shy on camera. If you want, you can turn on your camera as well. That will make this, conversation more healthy. And then that way we can see, who that name or the person is. So if you guys are okay, switch on your cameras. We would love to see.
Yeah. So Mr. Ruben, so I think the best thing would be that I think your wife, if she has decent English, I'm talking about proficient 7 level, if she can get that, then let her study. You stick to IT, let her study. This way you have 2 occupations in which you can get the PR, 2 good occupations. And we have a lot of occupations we have found out in recent times in which the invites are coming at 75 points within IT. So we can help you with getting the PR through IT side, but your wife will get a PR with 65 points, 60 points of her own and 5 from the state, and that's all we need. Okay, so that's I think gives you a very good chance. And basically, see, there's some cases in which you lock it in, like you don't lock the PR. This is probably going to be one of those type of cases. So you'll be covering 2 really good occupations. So you're set. So just 2 things you have to keep in mind. Number 1, you both don't need to do that. That will not help you, unfortunately. One is enough. And number 2, don't take the wrong course. That's the biggest problem, because a lot of people take I've seen the ads myself. There are a lot of people advertising Diploma of Community Service for 1 year, $10,000, $5,000. The problem with that is it's not accredited. Okay, if it's not accredited with ACWA, the people who are going to give the stamp of approval, then how the hell will you get the PR, right? So that's why it's very important that you take the accredited course. That's very important, because 1 year courses, there's no accredited 1 year course in the market. I can tell you, I can make a blanket statement, right? And Mr. Jayant will agree, like Mr. Jay, you can call him Jay. So as affectionately you call him. So Jay will explain you that.
He's my client. FYI, Ruben is my client.
That's perfect. No, that's good. That's good.
As soon as I saw him, I knew it was him.
Okay, that's why you were asking to open the camera. Okay, so so basically, see, the thing is, if one of you studying and you have the right course, you are pretty much locked in. So I think this is one of those pathways I'll be very comfortable with in your case. So we know that in the next accredited course, if you do that, you're pretty much through. That's it. So I think that's the answer for you. So I think that's pretty solid. And experience is not going to help you, unfortunately, because they don't have any component. If you have a lot of experience, X amount of experience, you can get the assessment. Unfortunately, there's no pathway like that. Okay, so I hope that answers you. I'll move to Mr. Dharma. Okay, Mr. Dharma Raj Bhandari. I'm currently working in IT, Sydney for 6 months, and I have done professional course back in Nepal, and I have worked around 6 to 7 years in my home country, so I'm eligible for PR. Yes, Dharma, you are eligible for PR. But when you say IT is a very wide field. You could be working in network security to test engineer to like software engineer to full stack developer. There's like 30 occupations you can think of. So when you say IT, just to rationalize, if you're working software engineering side, you're working networking side or security side or business analytics side, whichever side you're working on, it has to be aligned. Your studies and your experience has to be aligned. Okay, like it should be in the one direction. Like if the studies were predominantly in software engineering, then work should be also in software engineering, and that will make it very easy for you to get the assessment because you have so much experience, you get the invite rather easily. But what they'll do is if you get the assessment based on your overseas degree, Nepalese degree, they will deduct 2 years of experience. Okay, so that 6 to 7 years of experience that you have, that will become 4 years of experience, and that will only give you 5 points. If you have 7 years of experience that you can prove, they'll deduct 2 years and you're left with 5 years. Okay, that 5 will give you 10 points for overseas. And with another 6 months in Australia, you get another 5 points. So you'll be having 15 points just from overseas and onshore experience combined. So that's a very, very solid place. So the only thing that will stop you from getting the PR is only one thing: your English skills. That's it. So that obviously there are a lot of factors to it, but that seems like the case for you. Okay, so I hope that answered you. I'll move to Sudeep. Now Sudeep saying, is it possible to get PR 190 with 75 points? Me, software engineer, is it possible to get PR 189 with 75 points? My wife, PR 90 with 80 points, software engineer. Okay, so I'm a little confused. I think you're saying you both are software engineers.
Yes, both are software engineers.
Okay, so you both software engineers, and you have 70 plus 5 points, and she has 75.
No, 70 plus 5 point means 75 with 190. I mean.
Oh, got it. 75 to 190, and your wife said it's almost same points.
Yes.
Okay, so your wife had 5 points more than you, basically. That's
Yes,
only correct. Yeah. Okay. And both of you are software engineer, and both okay. So I'll tell you what. See, points wise, you're on the lower side, to be very frank with you. So that is going to hurt you. Now, what you have to try in such cases is you try some. Obviously, I'll have to look at the experience or something. If you have something like that, to see if you have enough experience, that we can transform you from a software engineer to something a little more obscure, right? Something which is less looked upon, so that we can go from the mainstream occupation to something different. Just to give an example, there are almost 3,000 software engineers in NSW, and there are 2,000 developer program, and there's only 600, 700 that in this program. So there's the number. So it's all the numbers game, right? So we have to look at what occupation can we get you, which can get invited much quickly for you. Okay, so that's something obviously that depends on a lot of factors: your experience, your profile, your studies, everything. So obviously for that you have to dig in a little bit based on your profile, but it is going to be hard, to be very frank with you, because your point, even if your wife's profile 75 is on the lower side, definitely, because I personally have so many software engineers 85 above that. There are so many. Just to give you an example, like I have so many people alone that and I'm just one agent, and there's 12 agents within our company, and then there's 4,000 agents in Australia. So there's a lot of people in the queue. So you will be lacking points. So we have to either get the experience points up, or you have to get the English points up, or NATI. Something has to be done. And if nothing can be done, then you have to be smart. You have to get one of you into a PR-related course, the one we mentioned earlier, one of those courses, or something different based in your case, or something which will make your PR very smooth. Okay, like if you say your wife's English is very good, we'll ask her to do graduate diploma early childhood teaching. If you say your wife is happy to study, but she can't get very high score in English, then we'll say civil construction design or diploma community service. So, depend on the case, we'll amend. But I think if you can't get to a certain level of points, then it's better to study something different than waste 1 year and then realize you lost all the time, right? So that's just one elegant.
Yes, I just have one more question after
yeah,
you.
please.
Can we answer that also? I think if you see 442, I have pinged that one.
Sorry?
I have one more question. So I have pinged here also at 442, just after few.
Oh, you have another question. Oh, sorry, my bad. I didn't see that. 442. Okay, yeah. I have 14 years. 14 plus IT experience, and I'm going to Sydney in the month of April with a dependent visa. I have for the 80 points for 90. Can study. Okay, this is a very different question. So these are two different cases. I don't know if it's the same person.
What is the question here? So working in India.
Yeah.
Okay. So now this month, in next month starting, I am going to Sydney.
Great.
Okay, but still I will continue work for India. So
Okay.
on that case, can I apply 190 for all state from offshore candidate as a offshore candidate?
No, you can't. So basically, if you're, I'll give you an example. Like if you're coming on dependent visa, you're still working for an Indian company which is based in India. The company client, everything is in India, right? That's
yes. The salary also will be credited in India only.
Then you're not a so that's the worst position, because now you're not a resident, you're not an offshore client, you're not an onshore client as well. You're stuck in the middle. To become an onshore client, offshore applicant, you need to be working here, properly settled here. That's the problem. So you
Now, what I am asking, because as a offshore candidate, I can apply for 190 for all states.
I understand your question, Sudeepji. I understand your question. When I'm saying let me complete it and you'll get your answer. Trust me, okay? Because I can't give you a brash answer that yes or no, because the yes or no answer won't gonna help you, right? So the simple answer is, if you are offshore, you're working offshore, you come to Australia, okay? If you're coming to Sydney for that particular matter, you have to stay in Sydney for 6 months to become an onshore applicant, correct? Now you were offshore all along. So technically, if you're left offshore, you're in Australia, now you're suddenly for a period of time, you're not a NSW resident, because they consider after 6 months, and you're not an offshore resident because you're not living there for the last 6 months. Okay, that's the tricky part. So that's why you get stuck in the middle. You're not here, you're not there.
Okay. So for example, if I able to get my point to 90 and within 6 months I get the invitation, then can I apply PR for that state?
Then yes.
And
6 months have passed. Yeah.
I have to go back to offshore, then I can apply.
No. You don't need to go offshore. These are two different things. See, here's the thing. What we are talking about is a nomination from the state. Okay, this is different issue. What you're talking about going offshore is like a visa thing. So if you're in Sydney and you're applying onshore, offshore, what that's second issue. If the NSW state or nominates you, you can apply onshore. You're done. Doesn't matter what they give you nomination on, whether offshore, onshore, that's the second issue. Once your nomination is approved, you get the invite, you are done. You can apply in Australia. So you don't need to travel anywhere. Okay.
Yes. And still, what I am thinking, still getting job in Australia, we can be offshore candidate. Then after getting job in Australia, we have to do.
I see that. Okay, no, don't make so much. So there's a thing. So you have to, if you're coming to Australia, if you're working offshore, if you're just visiting Australia for a 1 month period and then going back to India, then yeah, you'll be considered offshore period. Okay, what you're talking about is the gray area. Okay, if you're here, you understand, there's a gray area. Like if you're here,
dependent visa, that is working visa only, but okay, but still we can. What visa?
Because you're temporary and you got a 485, I'm assuming. Okay, if you got the 485 visa, you have work rights, right? So you'll be considered temporary resident in Australia. So yes. How can you say that I'm an offshore applicant? You have work going on offshore. Yes, that is true, but at the same time, you're living here. So they look at a couple of factors. They want you to live, work, study. All the things have to be in a particular place. So that's what defines the offshore applicant. Otherwise, everyone who's in Sydney can apply in South Australia as offshore applicant, right? Then they don't accept that. They know that.
No. What I'm saying for my case is different, because I am earning salary there. Yes.
Here. What you're trying to do is you play in the middle for both sides. What you're trying to do is not going to work. I'll be honest with you. Why? Because you're playing the gray area. You're saying I'm not a resident of NSW. And I'm not and I'm offshore applicant, but I'm living in NSW. You understand? So you can't say that I'm living in NSW and I'm offshore as well. Decide. You have to decide. You can't do both at the same time. There's a gray area here which we can help with, yes, but we can't do it on the webinar for that. So you have to go for you understand? Like there's a gray area, but that gray area is very thin line between being offshore and onshore. Right? So
okay, I need help on that.
We are there for you, 100%. We are there. See, that's what we have for. So that's the thing. Obviously, because of the constraint of this webinar, and there are like 40 people viewing us, so we cannot say a lot of things that people might misconstrue, right? So that's why you have to be very careful what our words. That's the thing. So obviously, basic answer I can tell you, what if particular case, like what job you're doing, stuff like that. That's something you have to be very, very personal consultation. Okay, so don't worry, you can do that, but there's a very thin line in it. So, but for that, you have to explain you 10 different things with it. Okay, so I'll explain you. Don't worry. Come to us,
Sure.
email us, we'll definitely help you out. Okay, don't worry.
Sure.
Sudeep, you can email me. I can probably look into getting you a consultation with Usman. All those questions which you are asking, which are very specific, it will be very hard for Usman to give you a specific answer because it's a public forum right now. So you go on face-to-face consultation or phone Zoom consultation with Usman, and then have that conversation. And I'm pretty sure that you will have a pathway in
Sure.
Australia.
And so let's move to note and Mr. Saroj. Sorry, I'll have to go up my bad, because I think we missed a lot of people in the middle. So these
Usman, are you able to see KY's question? It's a direct message.
KY, I can't see.
Okay,
KY.
it's a direct message which came after Sudeep's question, so I'll read it out for you.
Yes,
I'm on
please.
my 485 currently, studies Bachelor of Architecture with 1.5 years of work experience in India and Masters of Project Management in Sydney. I would like to apply 190 NSW under the Architectural Draft Person occupation. What is the way to get a positive skill assessment from VetAssess? How many points is the occupation getting invited at?
Okay, so he's in NSW right now, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in Sydney. Yeah.
Okay, hi. So basically, I'll keep it simple. Architect person is again a very good occupation. And it's been invited for say in NSW for the last 3 to 4 years. Now, what you need to do is number one, skill assessment, and you have to go through VetAssess. Okay. Now, what they do is basically they want you to have an education which is related to architecture or civil design, or basically in a way related to, let's say, construction, or like they're very specific kind of study they want. If you have done masters or something in architecture, okay, or architecture design, we can use that as a qualification, relevant qualification, and we need 1 year of experience. Now you have 1.5 years, so 1 year of experience is going to help you get the assessment, and the other 6 months can be used for points, but obviously we probably wouldn't need to, because in your occupation the points are like on average 80. Why? Because most of our people, I can think of my own client, they're mostly at 80, because most of the people who have done architecture, they have really good English and they're mostly bilingual, right? So they can do NAT ESL. So they all get decent score. So I think 80, if you get to touch 80, you're in a very comfortable spot. Yeah. The only difference, I'll tell you what, even at 75, you can get in mind. That's not a problem. The issue would be the time. Instead of getting 2 months, you'll have to wait for 6 months or something. And I think there's I should check for you 1 second.
Actually, I just have another question on this. So my architecture degree in India was for 5 years. Then I worked for about 1.5 years as a junior architect. So my roles and responsibilities are pretty much similar to a draftsperson that's listed in VetAssess. And after I studied Master of Project Management here in Sydney, I worked for about 8 months as a construction estimator. So pretty much those responsibilities are also similar. So can I use 2 service statements for my application for the skill assessment?
So basically, just let me get it straight. You have 1.5 years in India.
Yeah.
And in 1 year in Australia, but another job which is construction estimator, right?
Yeah.
Well, how much time was that, by the way?
Around 8 months.
Oh, okay, 8 months. So see, the challenge with construction estimator, that's where the a little gray area, because construction estimator is an individual occupation on its own.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that's why we can obviously can try for that as well. But then again, it's smarter to pull you towards architecture draftsperson, because that's so see, I'll tell you what, you can use 2 or 3 different jobs, different letters, different titles. Like even if in the same company you had 2 promotions, you can use 2 different letters, or like, or in one letter you can separate the duties in each of the designation. Because obviously if you're a estimator or a project manager or senior project manager, your title changes, or site manager, your title changes. So that's why we have to make sure that if you're getting assessment done, you use all the experience together, so that we can get the maximum points out of it. Okay. That's a big thing, because if we can manage to use your Indian experience, let's say if you've done Bachelor of Architecture from India, for example, and we could use your Indian experience to get the assessment done. Obviously, there's some criteria that has to be in a certain number of years, let's say 5 years old or something. So we have to look at those factors. But if we can ensure that you can use all your experience in, and we can use all your Australian experience just for the point that will add 5 to 10 points on you. So that can make a huge difference. So definitely a very good case, a very good profile and good occupation as well, 100%. It's just that your see, remember, there are two kind of cases. One is that you don't have a good case, you have to build up to the right level. Another type is you have a good case, you just have to protect it, solidify it, put a concrete on it. So basically in your case, I think you just have to put some concrete on it, secure it, and that's it. And obviously we can help you with it if you want. I can just email us. We can help you with the right reference letters, the right kind of document, organization chart, basically whatever you need to get the assessment done so that we can get the invite. Because the only thing standing, I checked one thing while we were talking, there's only 146 architecture draftsperson in NSW. 146. That's nothing. Okay, so that's why the only thing stopping you from getting the invite is you getting an assessment and the English score, literally.
Okay. Thanks for this. Just one last small question. So if I've applied for my student visa maybe 3 years back, based off this resume, which also included this work experience of mine that was from India. So basically my role was a junior architect. So can I can I do my skill assessment based off that, but as a draftsperson? So that's fine, right? But still there is.
Okay, now the only thing is you have to be a little careful because we can't contradict ourselves, right?
Exactly.
But again, because most probably there's a very 99% chance you'll not be including any points from the Indian experience. So the immigration wouldn't really care about the reference letter. Okay. So that's also agreed between the lines. So there's a lot of things you have to look at, but there's a lot of possibility here. The main thing is you can see a few things you can't change. Obviously, the company you're working for, obviously that's going to be the same. The designation you show, the title you show, if it says junior architect, is junior architect. You can't make yourself into a site manager or something, right? It is what it is. But within that thing, you have to put in the right duties, put in the right way forward. So that can definitely be done. It's definitely you can use it without much risk.
I just wanted to make sure that the title of the this doesn't matter. So basically the roles, responsibilities matter.
Exactly, that's always the case. But title do matter to a certain extent. Obviously, if it says accountant, obviously would work. Construction estimator, junior architect, that's fine. Because you still be working on AutoCAD, you still be working on a lot of draft thing and stuff like that, obviously. So that is well within the domain.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care. All right. So Jen, I'll just go to the next question. I think Mary McCarthy asked, I've answered her directly already. So
Roji,
okay. So she's like, hi, I'm from Sydney. I've completed MBA last year and I'm working in aged care as care worker for 3 years now, and I'm on 485. What are the options for me? Thank you. Okay. So Roji, the first thing is, unfortunately, if you're working in aged care, a care worker or a disability worker, basically the occupation is called age or disability worker. The problem with that occupation is it's not open anywhere. It's not open for any visa type, any particular pathway. So there's no, it is an occupation. If someone says it's an occupation, it is, but it doesn't lead you towards anywhere, unfortunately, right? So these people, this occupation group, they either become enrolled nurse, do diploma nursing, so work as an AIN, assisting nursing, or they become a community worker. So you have to choose one of the two, unfortunately. So in this case, I think based on your profile, I think obviously you did MBA last year, so that means you have a visa for 3 years now. Okay, so if you have 3 years visa now and you have worked in aged care, sticking around to aged care and just hoping that it will open up or something like that, it's unlikely. So the smart thing is you study something, right? So I think the most probable thing for you is either enrolled nurse by diploma nursing or community worker by studying diploma of community service. Both are pretty solid occupations. You have nothing to worry about if you don't do this kind of occupation, but experience is not going to help us, unfortunately. I wish I could. I had a lot of clients like you that I did a lot of research. I've done a lot of reading and everything, but it just doesn't add up, never. So that's why I would say do one of the two courses, and if you need any help, we are there. Just email us at sydney@asiapacificgroup.com and we'll link you with the right course and give the best scholarship available, and then you can decide what to do, right? Obviously there's no pressure, but you at least have your right option in front of you. Then you can make a educated, because see, it's all about making educated decisions. The reason we are doing this is so everyone can make an educated decision. Now, I'll move to Miss Hadia Shoaib. Okay, I think her husband is right. Anyways, so he's saying, I think,
Sorry.
hi, first of all.
Hey, Usman, I'm sorry. There was one direct message before Hadia Shoaib.
Yeah, please.
Checklist of skill assessment for IT after PY. That's
Sorry,
the
what? So can you
checklist of skill assessment for IT after PY.
Check. So checklist we can send you, but for that you'll have to email us. We'll send you the checklist. But in terms of the document you need your qualification, your professional layer, your resume, the basic documents, and then you can apply basically. Obviously, like it's simple but very particular. So they don't want anything. They want particular 4 or 5 documents, and that's pretty much it. But obviously, we'll share it with you if you email us. Okay. Thank you. So I'll go to Hadia now. So it's a long one. So okay, I think they are saying that first of all, thank you for organizing this session. It's much appreciated. You're welcome. Brief intro. I have done studied Bachelor of Petroleum Engineering from overseas and Master of Business in BIS, BIS from Australia. Currently on the TR, spending 2025. That's great. I have been working junior based analyst for last 1 year in Sydney. My wife is in management and chemistry. Okay, got it. So basically, his questions are: number one, what PR pathway options do you have right now? As number two, as my wife has done degree in it. Okay, so I'll just keep it simple. I have a lot 3 different questions. I'll keep it simple. I think the answer is basically the first thing you have to understand is that if you've done Bachelor of Petroleum Engineering, that opens up a good occupation for you, which is basically you can either try as an engine technologist or even sometimes a chemical engineer. That's both occupations are possible for you, and they're both on the lower side. Okay, so that's a possibility. But if you utilize your Australian degree, which is Masters of Business Information System, you can do professional year and get the assessment based on that as a business analyst or system analyst. So it's pretty solid. But then again, the points is the challenge. You have to get to 85 at least to make it happen. Okay, for BIS students. So at 85, ideally you should be 90, but at least 85. If you're not 85, it's going to become very tough for you. So that's one thing. And obviously the work you're doing as a junior rebates analyst, again, we have to check the duties and responsibilities that is relevant or not, because a lot of analyst jobs are not eligible for ICT business analysts because they are business analysts but not ICT business analysts. So that's the bit of a I would say gray area to look into. So that depends on your duty. So obviously for that something I can tell you better if you look at your letters and your actual job, understand the job properly. Okay. So because if you get this experience and you get the English score and the NATI and the vice point, you are in a very comfortable spot. Now looking at your vice profile, she has done Master of Analytics Chemistry. So basically, simple answer: analytical chemistry as analyst basically as a chemist. Basically, the occupation is chemist. Okay, so analytical chemistry is one part of the within pharmacology, and everything can be defined within the same chemist occupation. Now, chemist occupation is pretty solid. It's pretty good. Hardly 100 people are there in the queue, so you're pretty much I think 74 people if I'm not wrong. So there's hardly any competition in front of you. It's a very good occupation for the 189 and the 190. So your path will be very clear. But the challenge is your wife will have to have at least 1 year of experience as an analytical chemist. If she has it, you can get assessment. If she doesn't have it, they cannot get assessment. So if she doesn't have it, then you have to fall back on your profile, and that is business analyst profile, and we need at least 85 to 90 points to make it happen. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry to interrupt you. So regarding the my wife's occupation of chemist, so she needs onshore experience of 1 year or offshore experience?
Anywhere in the world, 1 year in the last 5 years. Yeah.
All right. And regarding my experience of junior rebates analyst, I want to ask that if the jobs and responsibilities will match, like somehow match the job and responsibilities mentioned on the ACS website. If it is matches, so the main thing is just the jobs and responsibility. It doesn't matter what the title of job is, right?
Titles matter, but they're always secondary. Remember that. It's always the roles and responsibilities. Like I'm a registered migration agent. You can call me a consultant or analyst or whatever, migration specialist, whatever. But end of the day, I am what I'm doing, right? So essentially, it comes down to that duty, the core. So if you can match it accordingly, yeah, we do that all the time. Like we see, because sometimes again, it's all comes down to the words. Sometimes my clients are doing all the things, but when they get a letter from the HR, it's such a boring letter. There's hardly 3 lines, 2 lines. There's hardly anything to it. They say, oh, he's working on our existing clients and making policies. What does it mean? So we have to explain it, like he's working on Power BI, or he's working on this particular technology, or he's doing assessing, he's identifying the issues, risk, or whatever, right? So that's the, it's our job as an agent and your job as a client. You have to work on it to make sure you put in the right way, best foot forward. It's the same way. If you're applying for jobs, you won't use the same CV for a shop assistant job that you use for a university lecturer job. You'll put a different CV in front of both of them, right? Same thing over here. So you have to put it the right way, and that's it. And that can work. But just mind it, one thing. One important factor. A lot of people think that we just got to match. It's not as simple as that. It has to be. It's just not, because you just can't match. Oh, you have this identify. I'll put this. You can't copy paste it, and you can't make it too similar to it either. So you have to make it this. It's very hard to say, but it's like a small nuances that matter. They look at the company. If you're working, let's say for example, Commonwealth Bank, and you're working in anti-money laundering department, they'll look at it. They'll look, okay, how the hell are you doing this in that department? Right. So they'll look at the component, like the department, industry, and then they'll make an idea that, okay, he's lying or he's really truthful. Right. So that's something you have to be careful. But then it's possible. So both of you are good applicant, you and your wife, but obviously your wife, PR would be very easy, literally for both of you. It would be very easy. The only problem is getting her experience sorted out. And if that can be done, then obviously that will be the best thing for you.
And regarding her experience, do we need payslips as well as, or just an experience letter from overseas?
No, experience letter is one part of it. You need payment evidence. So you need stuff like third-party evidences, bank statements and stuff, just to make sure, because if you can't prove it, it never happened.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, right.
If you tell me, bro, I'm a billionaire, I'll believe it. But unless you show it in your account, we won't believe it, right?
Yeah.
The same way. It's all about the evidence.
Yeah. Of course. Right. And one more thing, is that regarding the internships, the overseas internships, it's not countable?
It's not countable. You see, they want employment. They're very clear about the word employment. Internships are not generally employment. Sometimes people rope them in because they are paid, they're a certain level, they have management training, like specific like that. That can work, but it's case to case. But 90% of the time, internships are not eligible. Yeah.
And regarding the 491, if you want to apply for 491, so we have to leave first. We have to go in the regional area, like we are living in Sydney right now.
I'll have to check your occupation in detail for that, because obviously it's a very niche occupation. As you know, there's only 76 people. Okay, I get like 3 or 4 chemists in 1 year, and I get like hundreds of software engineers, network engineers, but only 3 or 4 chemists in 1 year, and other agents don't even get that. So I can tell you one thing, that it's a very niche occupation. There's like, I'm checking the data right now, like 76, 78 people in the queue. That's nothing. Okay.
All right.
So that's why your wife can get the PI at the lowest points imaginable. But for you,
but the main thing is the skills assessment, which is
that's the biggest hurdle for you guys. Yeah, that's something. If you see, think like a puzzle. Migration is like a puzzle. You put in the right way. If you arrange it the right way, you're done. So yeah, that's one thing. But obviously, see, if you need, if you need to show the internships and stuff like that, and discuss like what will work, what will not work, we're happy to help you one-to-one cases. But obviously, because this is very limited. Generally, a consultation go for 45 minutes, because you have to impart all the knowledge, understand your case in detail, depth, and then give you a solution, right? So obviously, this is going to be very quick and without making a lot of assumptions, right? So if you want proper consultation, do come to our office. We'll happy to help you. Okay, so that's one thing. But generally speaking, you have a good case. Just how you manage it is your responsibility. So that's very important. You try to put in the right way, and the ribbon on top, you're done. Okay.
All right. One last question regarding.
Bro, I have to move to the next person. Sorry, I have to allocate certain time to everyone.
Yes, so of course, no worries. Just as regarding the charges for your schedule of charges for skills assessment and everything. It means that if we need to take your services. So
yeah, so okay, so we can help you everything. Again, I'll ask my team to send you the email. Okay.
Sure.
I hope you fill out the form. We'll send you the formal email with the proper code and everything, and you can make a decision based on that. Okay. So we keep our rate very nominal, so don't worry about it. It's like any agent of my caliber will be charging much more than that. I can assure you that. So, okay, so don't worry about it. So we keep it at the right level, so we can deliver the best service. For us, service is more important than the money part. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Really
you so much.
appreciate it.
Shoaib, you can send me, Shoaib, you can send me an email after this webinar, Sydney at Asia Pacific Group. I have already put my email in the comments. So just send me an email because I have already seen you now and I know your name as well. So I'll just flick that email to Usman and then we will get our migrations team to get in touch with you and then they can answer all your questions.
Sure.
I'll move
Thank
to
you.
Mr. Saroj now. So Saroj is saying how viable is it to get PR 190 for a person like me who study Master of Data Science, IT from Sydney. I'm about to start my professional year and just got my 485 visa. What can be a good way to collect enough points in my scenario? Why does it feel like it's my own client? Anyways, so I'll tell you what. So, Mr. Saroj, simple. So data science is again a very good occupation, but again, same thing that we have to. Points is the main problem here. Points. It all comes down to the points for you. Like PR is there, but if you can get to at least 85 points, if you can't reach 85 points, why I'm saying 85 because it's like a threshold. Okay, for analyst. If you can't get it at 85 points, that means you are in a way too low to get the PR. So that means you have to be way too lucky to get the PR, and luck is nothing to do with our planning. Okay, so I never account for the luck. If I account for luck, that means what am I doing? Right. So that's why I'll be honest with you. If you think you can get to 85 or above, perfect. Sydney is all you need. You'll get the PR from here. No problem at all. But if you want the more points, you have to get, I'll just give you a general scenario. Okay. So not just for everyone. If you're between 25 to 30 years of age, you get 30 points. If you have done bachelor's and master's, you get 15 points. If you've done Australian study, 5 points. I'm not, if you've done regional study, you get another 5 points, but that's on the side. If you've done superior score in English, which is obviously very critical, the biggest chunk of points, that gives you 20 points. If you have professional year, that gives you 5 points. And if you have experience, that can give you further 5 points. But if I'm just using the basic point, I'm not using experience. Okay. I'm just using basic point, no experience, no regional points. I'm just using age, bachelor's, Australian study, English superior score, and 5 points on NATI. Okay. And PY, and you being single. That's the assumption. Or if you're not single and your partner is skilled, you get to 90 points. Okay, that's right. If you don't have superior score in English, you get fall to 80 points. So English is the one of the main determinants that can you get it or not. Now, from your name, it seems like you're from Indian background. So if you're from Indian background, let's say Indian Nepalese background, you can easily do NATI, pretty much every language, from Gujarati to Telugu to Tamil to Kannada to Malayalam to Tamil, Bengali, Nepalese, everything there, right? So you can do any of the languages. Hindi, if you can do that, then you 5 points and superior score in English. If you can't get the superior score in English, that's basically a main determinant that should you stay or should you move. Simple as that. Okay, so that's one thing. I'll move to Mr. Yash now. He's saying, how much is the cutoff for external auditor of commission for 189 if we lodge within this financial year? See, the last invitation came at 75 points. It will again come, I'm assuming, at 75 points, but obviously because suddenly every accountant auditor is active, so there's a lot of 90 pointers also coming into the picture. So you should try to get as high as possible. But obviously, if I look at the last round, it was like 75. So hopefully that stays. But for that to stay, we have to have a decent round, meaning a round of 10,000 or above to keep it at a 75, 80 points. Okay. Otherwise, you'll have to, because see, I personally know a lot of accountants who are very demotivated because of the whole accountant debacle in the last 3 years. Now they're all coming back online. They're getting the assessments done, PT done, NATI done. So they're going to make it at 85 or 90 easily. Okay, so that's why you have to try as high as possible. Okay, don't rely on the last round. Focus on a new one. Okay, so now we'll move to, I think everyone's done. I think the last question is Pumi. Puni Gani Garatne. They're saying, I'm on 45 visa, completed my MBA in 2021, Bachelor of Marketing Management, I have administration experience. If I find a job marketing, will it help get a skill assessment? Yes, certainly. Marketing specialist again has come back very strongly. So it got really tough in the last 1 year, but now again, this is back on since December, and you need 80, 85-ish point and you can get it done. So it's actually a very good occupation. So but see, here's the thing. You need experience for it because assessment is done through wet assess and they would need 1 year of experience. If you can manage that, then definitely this is a real possibility. Okay, so marketing specialist definitely under control, but you need to make sure you get superior score in English and get the experience to get the assessment. Okay, so yeah, so that's one thing. So yeah, I think we covered pretty much every question.
We
So
have
I
covered
think
everything.
yeah,
Yes,
so
all the
good.
questions have been
It's
covered.
perfect.
Sudeep
So guys, thank you
is
so
entering
much.
again.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think thank you so much.
We have
guys, for
covered all the
joining us.
questions.
Correct. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. So I think we'll have to call it a day for now. So any question, please email us and we'll happy to answer you, or call us, whatever you feel comfortable with. We are there for you. All right.
No worries. And also one more thing, Usman, before we go, that just a gentle reminder that we do have another session tomorrow from same time, 4 to 6. So if you or your friends, anybody wants to join, like, it's a very open question and answer session today. We will be, we will be doing it tomorrow as well. So feel free to share the link with your friends and we will address your questions tomorrow, same time. And we will be taking over some other agendas as well.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you everyone for joining. I hope everybody have a great evening.